What is up, friends? YouTube motorcycle enthusiasts, Accelerate coming at you with a video. Super excited to make. I got to take the YZ125X Brown Mountain. Stick around. Let's talk about some mods. Talk about what mods I need to do next. Alright, my friends, so I got to ride the 125X at Brown Mountain, had an absolute blast. I am really loving this bike as I get a lot more comfortable with what it's like to ride a 125 two-stroke. As I've mentioned before in my other videos, I've never ridden a 125 two-stroke before now, so I'm into it and I'm really digging it. So as for my mods that I've done to the bike, I just want to kind of go over some of the things I've done to it and what I think about those mods, whether I think they're lacking or whatever the case may be. And then from there, what do I want to do next? What are my gaps that I need to address? So first of all, the Acerbis protection and Polysport protection stuff. We're talking hand guards, the skid plate, the swing arm guards, and the clutch and stator cover guards on each side. So I think these are all great stuff. I'm really happy. I gotta say the Acerbis hand guards have done well. They've been down a few times and a couple scuffs, nothing major. The reviews overall have been really good, and I think they're pretty durable. For the skid plate, I love it, guys. That Acerbis skid plate that has that linkage guard, I think, is definitely money. It's a good price. It's a good part. It seems to have been durable for some log crossings and some other stuff that I've been doing. So it also is vented at the bottom and doesn't hold a lot of the mud and gunk that some skid plates do. So I really like that design. For the Acerbis 3-gallon tank, as many of you guys know, I took it off. Number one, I'm not a fan of the natural color fuel tanks. Sue me, I'm just not. I think they look silly. But anyway, I haven't really needed it. So, rode all day, probably did about 20 to 25 miles. Didn't use over half of a tank on the 2.1 gallon OEM. Now, part of that's probably because I'm not a ripper, I'm a slow rider, we're poking around, more technical riding. And number two is because, which leads into the freight train kit, the B-Rad freight train kit, where I added a Lectron. I think the increased fuel mileage and just the way I ride, I didn't really need the 3 full gallons of fuel at my disposal, so I decided to take it off, and I have no real plan to put it back on. So speaking of the freight train, what do I think of that pretty expensive mod package? Do I think it was worth it? Well, first I will say yes. I do give it 2 thumbs up. I do think it was worth it. From the time that I rode the bike for about an hour when I was originally doing the trade for the YZ125X, and then all the riding I've done on it now, from pretty much, which was Hatfield McCoy, and now all day at Brown Mountain. Definitely a good positive feedback for the freight train. The buoyancy and wrap valve and the apex head definitely helped give it more low end. And the Lectron, man, my first experience with the Lectron have all been positive. I haven't done anything to it other than adjust the idle, frankly, guys. It runs so crisp. It kicks over, it's firing up, second kick, first kick, usually. And I've been, trying to be cognizant of the mirroring rod and my adjustments. But honestly, I have no need to change anything. And I kept asking Chuck about it if he thought that it sounded like it was bogging or whatever, and it runs really, really good. So, and the cool thing is I never have to worry about it with elevation or temperature changes either. So I like that. I really like the Lectron. It was an easy install, and it was a good performer. As for the possible mid and high end that I'm losing between it and the Mikuni, I can't tell, guys. The Lectron seems to run, it's electric smooth. It still pulls great for me up top. It still has plenty of power. Yeah, I'm not racing this bike, so yeah, doing awesome. So that's pretty much it for the mods that I've done. Now I want to move into what is the bike missing? What am I going to do next? So the first thing I want to say is I already purchased it, and I haven't really had a chance to test it more than about 15 minutes, which is the RSC clutch lever. So that's the stunt lever that I've kind of talked about before. I added a stunt lever, the Chinese knockoff to the RSC on the YZ125X as a test to see if I thought I would like it. I loved it, and I said I would end up buying the real deal, the made in the USA, designed in the USA, non-knockoff RFC lever if I did like it. And I ended up putting one on the 125X. I haven't used it extensively, only for just I say 5-10 minutes, just a little bit around the house. Absolutely love it. The stunt clutch lever just makes the cable clutch, which is already relatively light, even lighter. And because it's a different pull angle, it actually gives me a little more precision with the slipping of the clutch. It's less of a on-off. It widens the ratio or the area of the lever of the actual engagement. So I'm really, really liking that. The next thing is the tires. Man, not a huge fan of the off-road, your standard intermediate off-road tire. I like a softer compound. My plan is to put some sort of hybrid gummy on the bike, and of course get tubeless on there. So those are the two big ones, tires and tubeless. Tubeless is a game changer for you guys that haven't used it off-road. Otherwise, I'm running 12 to 15 psi in the rocks, and it's just a struggle nonstop. So increased grip, increased ability to have traction with those decreased pressures. So it's huge. So tires and tubeless definitely going on. The last thing I'll talk about with the bike is the gearing. So it's currently running a 1350, which is OEM, which has done well overall, and I do think that is a good balance for flow and flowy trails and technical trails. I do see myself moving to a 1351 or a 1352. A lot of it comes down to when things get more technical, I need the bike to get into those that mid-range and the meat of the power a little bit faster. 1350's been fine for now, but again, as things get more technical, I do see that a 1351 or 52 being really the right setup. I don't want to get too far ahead, and 1352 may be too much, but I'm hopeful that 1351 or 52 will get it acting exactly the way I want it. Well, guys, that pretty much wraps everything up. This bike has been fantastic. I'm still loving it. I'm having fun getting used to adapting to riding a 125. So I hope you guys get out there, get on two wheels, ride a dirt bike. This is Accelerate once again, signing off.